This is a Nervous Chuckles production. Hey!
I'm reviewing here!
Hi everybody! Welcome to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here! A podcast where I, Matthew Bussey, watch and review Sight and Sound's top greatest movies of all time. Did I just say sound? Sight and Sound. I'm sorry. Friends, listeners, people who I don't like who may be listening to this, I have a bad sinus. I don't know if it's an infection, it's just a bad sinus. And right now, Frankie, are you licking your cooch? Oh god, this is a really ugly sight. Hi everybody, I'm sorry. Yeah, it's very weird. I had a cold earlier this year for at least 75 days. I'm not lying, 75 days. And I went to the Minute Clinic and she was like, you don't have a sinus infection, just put this nasal spray up your nose. And I was like, okay, $36. Yeah, super cheap, thank you. And I did it. After the first time, it all went away. So I got a sinus infection again. And now I don't know what to believe anymore. It's very odd. Yeah. No, I am good though. I'm mostly okay. My nose is dark red right now, and every time I blow my nose, it just feels like it feels like blood from my brain is coming out through my nose. Like actual, not like gunk. Not like boogers, but just like actual fluid, like from the brain, like blood. Feels like that is happening, and it feels like my every time I blow my nose, my brain is like, and it shrivels up a little bit. So I had to a little bit today, and then let me just have tea. I gotta have some tea. That's what I was trying to say. I gotta make pasta later. No, I don't. Yes, I do. No, I don't. I'm gonna get talking about today's movie. I first of all just want to give you all a little update. It's a movie update. I saw Crossroads. Britney Spears' very famous 2002 movie where she acts. Yes, I finally saw it, friends. I had never seen it before. I was 22 years late, and I saw the movie. And guess what? I didn't really like it. It's a ridiculous movie. It is so dramatic. If you haven't seen it, here's a spoiler-free summary of it. Okay, so Britney Spears is this high school student. She's graduating, and she's like, I want to go see my mom. And she lives with her dad, played by Dan Aykroyd. And he's like, no, you can't go see her. And because her mom basically abandoned her and didn't want her and left the family. And she reconnects with two of her childhood friends, Zoe Saldana and Taryn Manning. And Taryn Manning is pregnant. And in high school pregnant, which I did not know until like a little bit through the movie because they're like out. And she's like, oh, it kicked. And then Zoe Saldana plays the other friend. And she's like the popular girl in school. And she's supposed to go marry this guy. And her mom was really mean, and her mom used to send her to fat camp. And then when she lost weight, her mom got mad at her because now her mom was fatter than her. And like, there's a lot of weird stuff that happens in it. It's crazy. And okay, it was pretty good. And you know what? Britney Spears she did the best that she could in the movie. I did not think she was bad. You know, people were kind of like that when, what's her name? House of Wax, Paris Hilton, when she was in that movie. People were like, she's so bad. No, she wasn't. She did the best that she could. Okay, that's a little update. Go see the movie. Go see Crossroads. It is, it's not a good movie, but it is a very fun movie. And Shonda Rhimes wrote it, which I did not know. Yeah, Shonda Rhimes, pre-Grey's Anatomy, pre-Bridgerton. When someone bests for someone who does not feel the same. Bridgerton. The only good thing about 2020 was Bridgerton season 1. Today's movie, though, does not have any sex or British people or Britney Spears. It is actually a very sad but incredible movie that I thought was absolutely extraordinary. This is a movie by my new favorite guy, Luis Buñuel. He did The Exterminating Angel. He did, Un Chien Andalou and Andalusian Dog, two very famous movies. This is also considered to be one of his most one of his best films. There, that's what I meant to say. Yes, it is a movie. It's black and white. It is called, so it has two titles. It's called Los Olvidados. That is the Spanish title. It's a Mexican-made movie. That's the title, and it basically means the forgotten ones. Or in the U.S., it's known as The Young and the Damned.
Los Olvidados.
Celebramos los 60 años de su estreno con una copia restaurada por la Filmoteca de la UNAM, con el respaldo financiero de la División Fílmica de Televisa.
piedad para un pobre ciego.
Los olvidados. Una realidad que excede a la fantasía. Una película que va más allá de cuanto usted se ha imaginado.
¡No le pegues, no le pegues! Con mi mamá no te metas.
¿No? ¿Todavía más?
Los olvidados es un drama que ocurre hoy, que ocurrió ayer. Una historia verdadera aquí y allá. Un problema de todas partes y de todos los tiempos.
¿Por qué no me pega? Ándele. Usted me trajo aquí, ¿o no? Y ahora se hace la buena.
Sí te creo, hijo.
Y hasta ahora se acuerda de que soy su hijo.
Todos los conflictos y dolores de un mundo ignorado. El mundo de los olvidados.
¿Ya se va?
Si me das un beso, te regalo una cosa.
¿Cómo qué?
¿Qué tal 2 pesos para que te compres lo que quieras?
A verlo.
Mira.
Nomás uno, ¿eh? ¡Suéltame!
Si alguna vez en tu camino apuras las copas del placer, olvídate de mí.
Ya véngase, papá, que está muy tomado.
No me quiero ir, suéltame.
Cállese, no arme tan escándalo. Debía darle vergüenza.
¿Qué? Tú no debes juzgar a tu padre.
No le juzgo, jefe, pero le puede pasar algo malo y la jefa lo está esperando.
Pues que espere a poco.
Nuevos actores viven con asombroso realismo una dolorosa verdad. La historia inolvidable de los olvidados. Dramática veracidad en escenas que tienen por teatro la realidad misma y que viven Estela Inda, Miguel Inclán y con ellos un conjunto de nuevos intérpretes. Alfonso Mejía, Alma Delia Fuentes, Roberto Cobo y Mario Ramírez Ojitos, que realmente viven sus personajes. La más realista de las películas mexicanas, la más enternecedora, dura y tremenda de las producciones fílmicas. Los Olvidados, una producción de Ultramar Films dirigida por Luis Buñuel. Los Olvidados es una película inolvidable. Usted verá Los Olvidados.
Incluye el polémico y muy pocas veces presentado final alternativo.
Oh my lord, it is an intense movie. Okay, but don't get scared when I say that it's intense. So this movie, let me talk about it. It came out in 1950. It's black and white. Luis Buñuel directed it and co-wrote it with another Luis Alcoriza. Luis I like so much more. I don't like Louis. Louis is so Americanized. Anyway, this is a movie. It's a drama about poverty. And it's about how poverty absolutely blows and it makes people do really bad things and it turns people into monsters, it turns people into thieves, it turns people into doing really unethical things. Now, yes, that's a very downer kind of story. Of course it is. But you know what? This is a very realistic film. And, you know, right off the bat in the beginning of this movie, I forget if it's a voiceover or if it's like title cards, but, you know, Luis Buñuel, he sets it up from the very get-go, from the very start of this movie, that you're not going to be watching a happy movie. So buckle up and get ready. And it works. This movie blew me away. Well, obviously, visually, it blew me away, but I wasn't surprised by that because Luis Buñuel was... He's Buñuel. I mean, he's one of the great visionaries, R.I.P., in cinematic history. I mean, truly. I mean, go listen to the Exterminating Angel episode or Un Chien Andalou episode. I mean, he's a very surrealist director. You know, his movies are very much like paintings, and there's a lot of absurd humor in them. There's a lot of, at the same time, very serious issues. And what I loved about The Young and the Damned is that this is a movie that very carefully balances both of those. It's not an absurd movie, but it does have a lot of surrealist moments in the film. A lot of moments that really do feel... I'm just realizing now how, like, congested my voice sounds. I think I sound kind of sexy with a voice like that. Okay. what was I saying? Yes, so it does a really good job because it is both of those movies. It's a very surrealist movie, but it's also a very truthful, gritty, wrought film about poverty. You know, poverty in Mexico, that is. So, in Mexico City, a slum of Mexico City. Yeah, this is a movie that really confronts issues and topics that we don't want to talk about because we don't want to face them, you know? And for a movie to come out in 1950 that early, you know, I mean, movies have been around for a while, but, you know, they were not as, in my opinion at least, a lot of them were not as daring and willing to go that deep into really dark, intense, horrible issues, you know, about society. And Buñuel does it. Buñuel just had no fear in this film. And I loved it. I think that this movie, I mean, it stuck with me for a while, and I really do think that it'll stick with you too. But first of all, what's it all about?
Plots and ups.
So there's nobody famous in this movie, I should mention that, but each cast person, I mean, I did mention this in the last Buñuel episodes, the last two Buñuel episodes, that he really liked to sorry, this goddamn chair is squeaking. Shut up! Buñuel really liked to cast unknown actors, and they are friggin' amazing in his films. This film in particular, I mean, it's a mostly young cast, like little kids and stuff. Damn. So, Los Olvidados, or The Young and the Damned. I kind of like both titles. I keep almost saying The Young and the Restless, like that show, but it's not that. So, okay, I don't know what to call it. You call it whatever you want. The Young and the Damned is about a group of destitute children and their misfortunes in a Mexico City slum. El Jaibo, or the Crab, that's what his name basically means, and he's played by this phenomenal actor named Roberto Cobo? Roberto, oh, that was my name in 6th grade Spanish class. Anyway, he escapes juvenile jail and reunites with the street gang that he leads. They attempt to rob a blind street musician and, failing at first, later track him down, beat him, and destroy his instruments. Terrible, terrible, terrible moment. With the help of Pedro, El Jaibo tracks down Julian, the youngster who supposedly sent him to jail. El Jaibo puts his unharmed arm in a sling, hides a rock in it, and confronts Julian, sorry, that's how you say it, who denies that he reported him to the police and refuses to fight El Jaibo because it would not be a fair fight. As Julian starts to walk away, El Jaibo hits him in the back of the head with the rock. He then beats Julian heavily with a stick and takes his money, killing him. So this isn't like a violent movie. I mean, it is, but it's not like... the actual violence is not brutal. It's just a movie that is like... Even I was watching it and I was like, Jesus Christ, this must have really pissed off a lot of people when it came out. Which I'll get to later. El Jaibo warns... Pedro not to report the crime and shares Julian's money with Pedro to make him an accomplice. So... Pedro, this poor little boy, is just kind of thrown into this without wanting to be. Pedro's mother resents her son's behavior and shows that she doesn't love or care for him. Pedro, saddened by this, vows to start behaving better and finds work as an apprentice to a blacksmith. One day, El Jaibo comes to talk with him about their secret and, unbeknownst to Pedro, steals a customer's knife from the blacksmith's table. El Jaibo is a little sack of shit in this film. He is a villain. Capital V-I-double-L hockey sticks A-I-N period. Yes, he's nasty in this film. He is just, but you know, it's kind of like I said before, everybody in this film, they do terrible things, but you don't support what they're doing at all, but you understand why they're doing it, because they just have nothing left to lose, you know? It's tragic, absolutely tragic. So, Pedro, El Jaibo, he steals the knife from the blacksmith. Pedro is accused of the crime and sent to a juvenile rehabilitation program, the, quote, farm school, where he gets into a fight and kills 2 chickens. Yes. It's not a Buñuel film unless there are animals. Buñuel loves animals. Bears, sharks, crocodiles, I can't think of a dirty joke. I was going to say boobies, because boobies are birds, but that's really stupid. Okay, so he gets into a fight. He kills some chickens. The principal tests Pedro by handing Pedro a 50 pesos bill to run errands with. Pedro accepts and leaves with the intention to complete the errands. As soon as he leaves, he encounters El Jaibo, who steals the money. Upset that his attempt to be good was foiled again, Pedro tracks down El Jaibo and fights him. The fight ends in a stalemate, but Pedro announces to the crowd that it was El Jaibo who killed Julian. El Jaibo flees, but the blind man has heard the accusation and tells the police. Ugh, it's so annoying. And this poor Pedro kid, he just wants to be good, but he cannot get out of this reality that he's living in. Pedro tracks El Hibo down once again to murder him. El Hibo kills Pedro while... oh, God. Yeah, this scene is brutal. While fleeing, El Hibo encounters the police, and as he tries to run away, the police shoot and kill him. Meche and her grandfather, Meche's this girl, this other poor girl in town, they find Pedro's body in their shed. Not wanting to get involved, they dump his body down a garbage-covered cliff. On their way, they pass Pedro's mother, who, though once unconcerned with her disobedient child, is now searching for him. And then, my friends, the movie ends. The depressing end.
Mamá, ¿por qué no me llevan la otra noche?
So, The Young and the Damned, it remind me a lot of that movie City of God. There's this Portuguese movie called City of God about the slums and these slums. No, what am I trying to say? There's a really poor town in Brazil, and it's basically the same as this movie, but Portuguese. And it's another example of how people turn to crime when they are really, really poor because they have nothing left to lose. Now, this movie was so ahead of its time, because I say this a lot, if you watch a lot of old movies like me, you do see, and a lot of them, especially Hollywood movies, they always try to sugarcoat the end. They don't, it's like a lot of times dramas, they don't want to end on such a bleak note, because I kind of get it, because, they want to go, well, what's the point of that movie? Who wants to go see a depressing movie, But at the same time, if you're trying to make a movie with a big statement, and if the statement does not have a happy end because it's a very truthful film, then you got to end it that way. And I love when directors do that. I love depressing movies. You probably have got, caught that already. But yeah, I think that is the genius of The Young and the Damned. It is a film that knows no boundaries, has no boundaries. It shows you this reality. It shows you these people who have nowhere to go, have nothing else to do. But at the same time, it does show you that deep down in some people, there is still humanity. There is still love. His mother, Pedro's mother in this film, is a nasty mom who doesn't even care about her son. And then that shot at the end, it breaks your heart. It breaks my heart. It makes you realize, wow, so she does kind of still care about her son. The same with the little girl. The little girl, you think that... Well, this is not a good segue, but I guess the opposite of what I'm saying, too, is that there's also people that you think are very, very good, kind-hearted people in this film. Like the little girl and her grandfather. And at the very end, oh, Pedro's dead. A little boy's dead in here. Okay, we got to go hide the body. Go. Let's just go. There's no let's call the cops or anything. It's basically, people aren't going to believe us. They may think that we killed him. So, sorry, Pedro. We got to throw you in the dumpster. Holy shit. Indeed. Wow. It's a heartbreaking film. It's a really heartbreaking film, but at the same time, I say this a lot. I've said this a lot in this episode. It works because it's both a very intense drama, a very effective drama with a really, heartbreaking character, Pedro, and it's really about his moral compass and how it's skewed in the beginning, but, it's slowly like the trajectory. It's like he slowly goes to wanting to be a better kid, and then, unfortunately, his fate is already sealed. So he gets killed at the end by this, El Hibo guy. So It's a heartbreaking film. It really, really is. It's a gut-wrenching film, but it's also a visually breathtaking movie because Buñuel adds a lot of his signature uncomfortable, surrealist, nightmarish, dreamlike imagery in many parts of the film. You know, that part that you just heard, that's a dream sequence that Pedro has. It is so creepy and eerie. Everyone is walking in slow motion. There is like a hand that comes out of from the bottom of Pedro's bed. His mom is walking towards him and she's holding like all this meat in her hand. And then, you know, there's other moments where Buñuel just really plays around with the camera and plays with visuals. You know, there's a quick shot that stuck with me where Pedro like throws an egg right at the camera and it hits the camera frame and you see the yolk go down and it's like, oh, what? Huh? You know, it's like those moments that make me appreciate this director so much. You know, I'd never heard of this film. I think with Buñuel, everybody always learns about Un Chien Andalou, but this one, never heard of it, and I think it's actually my favorite out of all of his films that I've seen so far. Yeah, really, really powerful stuff, in the movie. Okay, all right. BTS Secrets and Scandals! So, it comes as no surprise that the movie kind of pissed a lot of people off when it came out. Yeah, well, pissed people off in that it was just so bleak and dark and disturbing. So, this is also interesting. I'm going to first say that, and this, again, is it a coincidence or not? I don't think it was. I think that this, well, is it a coincidence? I say I don't know if it is because Buñuel was a real artist and maybe he did these things on purpose to make people laugh and screw with them. But the film unfolds exactly in 365 shots. 365 a year. What's the significance there? I don't really know. I just think it's a cool fact. And is it coincidental? Well, I don't really know why Buñuel would do that exactly. You know, he did in The Exterminating Angel, he repeats a lot of shots and a lot of moments in the film, and you know, I forget if it was like his editor or something. They thought that it was like a movie mistake, and he actually said, you know, no, it's meant to be that way. It's meant to be, you know, that adds to the disorienting, aspect of the film. So, yeah, I don't know. Cool shot. Cool fact. 365 shots. When the movie was first released in Mexico in 1950, its theatrical commercial run only lasted for 3 days due to the enraged reactions from the press, the government, and the upper and middle class audiences. Well, why did they hate it? Well, they did not like Buñuel for exposing the nation's problems with poverty and crime. Nevertheless, however, Buñuel won the Best Director at the Cannes Film Festival a year later in 1951. Yeah, so people in Mexico, they basically, and it comes as no surprise because this is 1950 we're talking about, they did not like that he portrayed such a nasty, kind of like dystopian representation of Mexico. They didn't like that. They did not also like that, obviously, this was just not a happy movie whatsoever, and it was violent, and the violence, I think, was a big part in this film. In 2002, an alternate ending of the film was discovered at the National Autonomous University of Mexico. The alternate ending begins with El Jaibo and Pedro fighting in an abandoned warehouse. Pedro pushes El Jaibo from the roof, where he falls to his death. Pedro, however, frisks the body for the money El Jaibo stole from him, in contrast to the original ending where Pedro was murdered by El Jaibo. So they switched it in this. Pedro returns to the farm school with the money that the principal entrusted to him. So why did they change the ending? Well, again, I think it's to show that, like I said, Buñuel doesn't want to end this movie on a happy note. And that is a very Hollywood happy ending there. I mean, it's dark, it's of course, but basically it's happy because Pedro survives and he gets to return the money to the principal. Now, again, I'm a depressing guy, so I guess I really liked that they did not use this ending and that they used the original ending where Pedro dies and the little girl hides the body and everything, because it just adds so much to what Buñuel is trying to say about how poverty is a bitch. And it turns people into murderers. Journalist Veronica Calderon, in an article published on August 14th, 2010 in the Spanish newspaper El País, Oh, El País. I used to have to do that and get articles from them in Spanish class in college. Oh, I did take Spanish in college. People don't know that, but I did. I have a certificate of specialization in Espanol. She collected statements by Morelia Guerrero, daughter of Mexican journalist and writer Jesus R. Guerrero. Sorry, there's a lot of info here. In which Morelia points out that the script and the film are based on a novel written by her father entitled Los Olvidados, name of the movie, published in 1944. So basically, did Buñuel plagiarize? However, not really. However, comparative studies have been made between the film and the novel, and no trace of any plagiarism by Buñuel has ever been found. Buñuel would never do that. I don't think he would.
The best moment.
The dream sequence. Holy crap balls. Yeah, that you can watch it on YouTube too. That, I mean, get ready. It's so genius. I want to film more surreal images, shots, whatever. I want to do it. Oh, you know, I've said this before. I keep a Word document of all the dreams that not all the dreams, but dreams that I've had. If I wake up and I remember them, I rush to my computer and type them down. I want to go and film each of them right now, but I have to get actors and nobody wants to work with me, so that's not going to happen.
Mais est-ce que je suis d'accord avec les critiques de ce film?
Do I agree with los críticos de la película aquí? Yes, I did. There weren't really a ton of them, but Jeff Shannon of Seattle Times said, every viewing of Los Olvidados, or The Young and the Damned, offers further proof of its perfection. It is a perfect movie. I do think it's a perfect movie. Pauline Kael, kind of not controversial, but I've said this before, Pauline Kael, when she hated a movie, she was nasty. She wrote for The New Yorker. She called The Young and the Damned the most horrifying of all films about juvenile crime. I haven't seen a ton of movies about juvenile crime. This and City of God are the first ones that come out, come to my mind when I think about it. City of God, I've only seen it once. I don't really want to watch it again. God. It's a great movie. It got nominated for Best Director, I think. Fernando Meirelles is a great director, but yeah, horrifying. It is a horrifying film. Mark Chalon-Smith of Los Angeles Times, said Buñuel knew that poverty can't be prettied up. Exactly. He knew that it needs to be shown as a dehumanizing cycle. Exactly. It dehumanizes people. That's all it does. Peter Bradshaw of The Guardian said, this is grim reality, and social realism is not precisely Buñuel's forte. It is the poetic departure from this reality that makes Los Olvidados so riveting. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there is some poetry in this film with the, in the surreal cinematography, the imagery and stuff. But, it is a movie mostly, though, about social realism. And yeah, I think that's also why critics love the movie so much, because people for the first time were like, oh, wow, Buñuel can get really political, like, oh, damn. Yeah, I love when directors can surprise you. It's great. Kind of like when Wes Craven did that movie Music of the Heart, which is not a horror movie, and it starred Meryl Streep, and she got nominated for Best Actress. And I actually have seen the movie, but it's been ages. But everybody was like, oh my God, Wes Craven's not directing a horror movie? What? Let me do that again. Dave Kerr of Chicago Reader said, Buñuel's apparent lack of compassion for his juvenile delinquents is what finally makes the film an unusually powerful social document and a disturbing piece of drama. Yeah, I think that's the really disturbing power of this film, is that, there are shocking moments. There are little kids, young people, teenagers acting so viciously, so horrifically, beating people up, killing people. And he doesn't really ask us to really care for them, and that's powerful. That's daring. That's brave. That's just bravery. I mean, it is. It really, really is. I think, again, it's just a movie that's ahead of its time. This is a movie where Buñuel says, I want you all to really learn about poverty and how we need to really change it, okay? Watch it. If you're going to close your eyes, then you're a little pussy, because you have to watch it. That's what I'm trying to say. You got to watch it. Watch the drama, okay? Watch the bad scenes. Bad as in intense, okay? God!
Is it really one of the best movies of all time?
Yes, I'm going to say yes. Yes, indeed. You know what? All three of his films that I've seen so far on the list, this on Chien Andalou and The Exterminating Angel. First of all, go check them out. On Chien Andalou is a short film, so even if you don't like it, it's not that long, chillax. The Exterminating Angel is also a very surreal film with a little bit of, not even a little, it has a lot of political allegories in it. Yeah, man, I know I always repeat myself on this podcast and episodes, but you know, The Young and the Damned, Los Olvidados, this is a masterful film about how society crumbles, how people's ethics, moral ethics, come apart and crumble, and how people forget how to love and people go bad. And it's also a deeply visually appealing surrealist film. It's a film where Buñuel gets to be himself, but he also really touches on something deeply serious, and he nails it. So check out this movie, please do. How did I watch this? Oh, actually, I think I watched it on YouTube. I did not upload it. Somebody uploaded it to YouTube, and there were subtitles. I don't know if it's still there, but I don't think this is on the Criterion channel, but it should be added there. And if you don't have the Criterion channel yet, please go download it. Please do it. Subscribe. It is so freaking fantastic. Thank you all. I will see you next time. Stay safe out there. And if you're in Philadelphia, then it's obviously very hot. So get out those sleeveless shirts. I love sleeveless shirts. I used to be so afraid of them, but I wear them all the time now. Because I used to be so afraid of showing skin. And now I'm like, look at me! Even though I will literally burn after 20 seconds of me being in the sun. And I'm not a redhead. Because, don't redheads burn quicker than brunettes? I don't know. Thank you all for tuning in. I'll see you next time. In the meantime, get off your ass and go to the goddamn movies, okay? I don't care if it's too hot outside. Go to the movie theaters. I also don't care if, you forgot to cut your nails, okay? Go to the theater and just don't touch your nails, okay? Get some of those, straps that makes it so that you strap each finger to each finger so you cannot bend the fingers to touch your fingernails and press down on them. I do that too. I'm doing it right now because I feel like I need to cut my nails soon, and it is annoying, and I understand that, but you don't need to not go to the movies just because you have to cut your nails, okay? You can do it when you come back. And your toenails too? Same thing. Get a little strap-on thing and tie them together like a duck, okay? Ever seen Black Swan when her toes are together, quack, like that, okay? Go do it. Just go to the movies. Don't worry about your nails, okay? And if you're that worried, then bring a toenail clipper to the movies, but bring a trash can with you and go when nobody else is in the theater, go to a matinee, and then just do it there, and then please clean up, okay? But actually don't do that because it's really, really mean to the people who work there, okay? Oh, you made it. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of I'm Reviewing Here. New episodes drop Tuesdays and Fridays. You can get this podcast wherever you get your podcasts. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at I'm Reviewing Here. You can also subscribe on YouTube. New episodes drop there the same day they drop on the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Please leave a review if you'd like. Be mean, be nice, hit on me. I don't really care. Candor really, really is important to me, and, it helps the podcast too. So I really hope you enjoyed it. This podcast is brought to you especially by Nervous Chuckles. That is my fake production company because I make people nervously chuckle all the time because they never know if I'm telling a joke or not. So they're always like, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Is he serious? Is he insane? Did he get out of the loony? What's going on? So if I made you nervously chuckle, then that means that I did my job, and thank you. There is no funding for this podcast, but if you want to give me money, then, hit me up. DM me. Bye-bye.